Friendliness makes you likable, but assertiveness makes you respected. If you're always the one adjusting, agreeing, or stepping back to accommodate others, you send a message that your opinions, needs, and time are less important. Over time, this behavior conditions people to overlook your perspective and take your compliance for granted. They stop asking for your input because they assume you'll just go along with whatever is decided. They stop considering your time because they know you'll always say yes. Before you know it, you'll become invisible in the very relationships and environments where you're trying to be valued. The fear of confrontation keeps many people from being assertive. They worry that speaking up will make them seem difficult or unkind. That's us. But standing your ground doesn't mean being rude or aggressive. It simply means making your voice heard. It means being firm about what you will and won't accept, making sure people understand your limits, and refusing to let anyone take your kindness for weakness. When you practice assertiveness, you gain control over your life. You no longer feel pressured to agree just to avoid conflict. You stop overcommitting to things you don't want to do. You stop allowing people to take advantage of your willingness to help. And in doing so, you teach others how to treat you, not as someone who can be walked over, but as someone who deserves consideration and respect. You can be friendly without being a pushover. You can be kind without being taken for granted. Being assertive doesn't push people away. It makes them recognize your worth. And the moment you start valuing yourself, others will have no choice but to do the same. Not everyone deserves your energy. This is a hard truth that many people struggle to accept. When you're naturally kind and giving, it's easy to believe that treating everyone with the same level of care and attention will create strong, meaningful relationships. But the reality is, not everyone values what you bring to the table. Some people will take advantage of your kindness, drain your energy, and leave you feeling exhausted with nothing in return. The mistake many people make is assuming that their effort will be reciprocated. They pour time, energy, and support into people who only take but never give. They go out of their way to be there for others, only to realize that when they need the same level of support, those people are nowhere to be found. And that's when the disappointment sets in. You start wondering why certain friendships or relationships feel so one-sided, why you're always the one making sacrifices, and why, despite all your efforts, you still feel unappreciated. The truth is, some people only keep you around because of what you can do for them, not because they genuinely care about you. They see your kindness as an opportunity rather than a quality to be valued. And the longer you allow yourself to be drained by these one-sided relationships, the less energy you have for the people who truly matter, the ones who appreciate and respect you just as much as you do them. This is why it's so important to be selective about where you invest your energy. Start recognizing who deserves your time and who is only using it. Pay attention to the people who check in on you without needing anything, who support you when you need it, and who bring positivity into your life instead of constantly taking from it. Those are the relationships worth nurturing, mattering. Letting go of people who drain you doesn't make you selfish. It makes you wise. You have a limited amount of time and energy, and you should be spending it on people who uplift you, respect you, and add value to your life. When you stop wasting your energy on the wrong people, you create space for the right ones, and that's when you truly start to thrive. Respect is not demanded. It is earned through the way you carry yourself, the way you handle challenges, and the way you enforce your own standards. Too often, people believe that simply being nice, agreeable, and accommodating will make others value them. But true respect doesn't come from how much you do for others. It comes from how you present yourself and the boundaries you uphold. Actions speak louder than words, and if you want people to take you seriously, you must show them through your behavior, not just tell them. Confidence is one of the strongest ways to command respect. When you speak with certainty, when you walk with purpose, and when you make decisions without constantly second-guessing yourself, people take notice. Listen. It's not about arrogance or trying to prove something. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to shrink yourself to fit into other people's expectations. A person who knows their value doesn't need to beg for respect. They naturally receive it because they show that they respect themselves first. Decisiveness is another key factor. People respect those who stand by their choices. If you're always hesitant, always waiting for someone else's approval, or always changing your mind to please others, you come across as uncertain and easily swayed. But when you make a decision and own it, whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal life, you send a clear message. You are in control of your own path. Even if others disagree with you, they will respect the fact that you stand firm in your beliefs. Respect is also earned through consistency. If you say one thing but do another, if you let people cross your boundaries without consequence, or if you try to act confident but constantly back down, people will see through it. Being firm, following through on what you say, and maintaining your standards no matter who you are dealing with is what separates those who are respected from those who are ignored. At the end of the day, being too friendly without strength behind it won't earn you the respect you deserve. It's not about being unkind. It's about ensuring that your kindness isn't mistaken for weakness. Show through your actions that you are someone worth respecting, and the right people will recognize it without you having to ask. Being too friendly might seem like a good thing at first. After all, people enjoy being around someone who is kind, approachable, and always willing to help. But there's a fine line between being friendly and being overly accommodating to the point where others start taking advantage of your kindness. Too often, we fall into the trap of trying to please everyone, thinking that it will earn us respect, appreciation, or stronger relationships. Instead, it usually leads to the opposite. People start seeing you as an easy target, someone who will always say yes, regardless of their own needs or priorities. The reality is that when you're too friendly, some people will mistake it for weakness. They'll assume that you don't have boundaries, that you are willing to do whatever is asked of you without hesitation. And once you establish that pattern, it becomes incredibly hard to break. You'll find yourself constantly putting others first, sacrificing your own time and energy just to maintain a false sense of harmony. But what happens when you need something in return? More often than not, those same people who benefited from your generosity won't be there when you need them. Why? So, you won't be there when you need them. Why, Nick? Because they never respected you in the first place. They only valued what you could do for them. Respect isn't built by being overly accommodating. It's built by standing firm when necessary. It's about knowing your limits and making it clear that while you're a good person, you're not someone who can be walked all over. If you're always saying yes, always making yourself available, and always putting others ahead of yourself, you send a message that your own needs don't matter. And if you don't value yourself, why should anyone else? Being friendly isn't the problem. Being friendly without boundaries is. You don't have to be rude or distant to command respect. You just need to be aware of how much you give and to whom. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your kindness. Start recognizing when your friendliness is being exploited and be willing to step back. People may not always like it, but they will respect it. And respect, in the long run, is far more valuable than temporary approval. Wanting people to like you is natural. Everyone enjoys feeling accepted and appreciated, but when that desire turns into a habit of constantly seeking approval, it becomes a problem. The need to be liked can make you compromise your values, hesitate to speak your mind, and go along with things you don't agree with just to avoid upsetting others. But the truth is, the more you chase approval, the less respect you earn. People respect those who stand firm in their beliefs, not those who bend at every request just to stay in good favor. When you focus too much on being liked, you become afraid of disagreement. You hold back your opinions, nod along even when you don't agree, and hesitate to say no because you don't want to disappoint anyone. But in trying to please everyone, you lose yourself. Your voice gets drowned out, your presence becomes less impactful, and instead of being seen as a strong, confident individual, you become just another agreeable person who blends into the background. Respect isn't given to those who try to fit in everywhere. It's given to those who have the courage to be themselves, even when it's not the most popular choice. People might enjoy your friendliness, but they won't truly respect you unless you show them that you have boundaries and principles. They need to see that you're not just there to make them happy, but that you have your own thoughts, priorities, and limits. Saying no when necessary doesn't make you unkind. Disagreeing with someone doesn't make you difficult. Having your own standards doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you someone who knows their worth. You don't need constant approval to be valuable. The right people will respect you for your authenticity, not for how much you try to accommodate them. Seeking respect means choosing your integrity over temporary validation, knowing that it's better to be true to yourself than to be liked by everyone. Approval fades, but respect lasts. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that being overly accommodating will earn them respect and appreciation. They assume that always being available, always agreeing, and always putting others first is the key to building strong relationships. But the reality is quite the opposite. When you fail to set boundaries, people start taking you for granted. They see you as someone who will always say yes, someone who will always adjust, and someone who will never push back, because that's the pattern you've established. And once that pattern is set, it becomes difficult to break. Boundaries are not barriers. They are a sign of self-respect. They tell others that while you are kind and willing to help, your time, energy, and priorities also matter. Without boundaries, you end up stretched too thin, drained from always meeting others' expectations while neglecting your own needs. You become the person who's always available for everyone else, but never has time for yourself. And what do you get in return? More demands, more expectations, and often little to no appreciation. Many people struggle to set boundaries because they fear being seen as rude or selfish. They worry that saying no will disappoint others or make them seem unkind. But the truth is, setting boundaries doesn't push people away. It teaches them how to treat you. People may not always like it at first, but they will respect it. Those who truly value you will understand and adjust. Those who only wanted to take advantage of your kindness will be the ones who complain the most. And that tells you everything you need to know about who deserves your time and who doesn't. A lack of boundaries leads to exhaustion, resentment, and a loss of self-respect. Boop. You start feeling frustrated, not because people are asking too much of you, but because you never told them where the line was. You become angry at yourself for always saying yes when you wanted to say no. And over time, that frustration builds, affecting your relationships, your work, and your mental well-being. But once you start setting limits, everything changes. You begin to reclaim your time, your energy, and your sense of control. Being friendly is a strength, but only when it comes with self-respect. You don't have to be harsh to set boundaries. You just have to be firm. Stop explaining, stop apologizing, and stop feeling guilty for protecting your own well-being. If you don't set boundaries, people won't set them for you. And if you don't value your own time, no one else will either. Being friendly and approachable is a great quality, but there is a fine line between being kind and being a pushover. Many people assume that always being agreeable will earn them respect and strengthen their relationships, but the truth is, it often does the opposite. When you avoid standing your ground just to keep the peace, people don't see you as strong. They see you as someone they can push around. There's a difference between being friendly and being assertive, and knowing when to draw the line is what separates those who are respected from those who are merely liked.